So we talk about the methodology to reduce craving, the fourth noble truth. That means the method is that the Buddha says you have to do this. Develop right livelihood. Develop right action in everything you do. Have right speech, right concentration, right mindfulness, right effort, right thought, right understanding. Altogether, eightfold noble path. And this eightfold noble path is divided into three categories. The bottom is the foundation for you to develop your morality. Because without morality, you cannot practice concentration. Without that peacefulness of life, you cannot go and meditate. You will be thinking about, oh, I got to go and make money lah. I got to go and settle this lah, settle that. When your moral ground is good, then only the next part will be the mental development, or the mind development, or the cultivation of the mind, which is samadhi. And if you are able to have the right concentration, right mindfulness, and right effort to go in that direction, then there will arise in you the right thoughts and the right understanding about the phenomena of nature. And that is where the Buddha then, because of this method, is trying to create the right understanding of what the laws of nature is, so that you understand what nature is, and then you live in accordance with it, and don't go against it, don't challenge it, and don't disrupt it. Because when you challenge nature, you will be in trouble. And this is a very scientific approach. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. The Buddha's teaching is not just pure dogmas, superstitions, supernaturals, or something philosophical and eventually has no basis in science. Remember, I started with the first definition called energy. And I started to say that you are actually comprised of two forms of energy: the physical energy and the mental energy. The mental energy is the four aggregates, the four faculties, the consciousness, the recognition, perception, the feelings, and finally, of course, intentional thinking. What about the physical, the rupa? The rupa is basically the four elements: earth, water, wind, and fire. You are comprised of these four elements, every one of us. And we need to balance. And I think our TCM master will know that when you are sick, you balance them by providing the herbs, the energy concentration and dissolution, so that when your energy flows properly, your body energy will self-heal. You have a self-healing process. Your body is very smart. It's very highly intelligent. It knows how to close up the wound also. When you take a cut and you are able to realign your energy properly, the wound will cut. It's like when you go to the beach and you take a stick and you poke a hole and you pull it out. There's a hole, isn't it? Come back tomorrow. Is there any more hole? Our scars, our wounds, our energy flow. That's why we have the chi in our body. And it comprises of energy. Earth gives you solidity. Earth is particles or molecules. Molecules is like atoms. Atoms can be broken up into protons, neutrons, and electrons. What are protons? What are neutrons? And what are electrons? They're all little balls of energy. That's why you see a molecule will have a few balls running around it and orbiting. That reminds you of the solar system, isn't it? Where the moon revolves around the earth revolves around the sun, and all the other fellow planets also revolve together. And then the sun goes within a galaxy. And subsequently, they are bounded together in orbit because of electromagnetic energy forces. that held them together. And because they held them together, there is an attraction and repulsion. Like energy attracts. Unlike energy repels. So you get a lot of knockings. When that energy starts to knock against each other, you create wind, motion, you create heat. But how do they get them together? It's water. Water is the one that binds all the molecules and atoms together. Earth is water binding, then start knocking at each other, produce heat, and then eventually what we call, you then create earth, water, wind, and fire. Take for example a heap of flour. Fen, you put it on the table. What happened? And there's a lot of particles in the air. They are not bind together. But imagine a heap of flour and you pour water and then you net it. What are you trying to do? You bind them together. You hold them together to create a mass, to create a form. After that you can form tiger, elephant, or whatever you want from that dough. But the moment all these molecules bind together and come together, then they start to attract and repel. They start to orbit, and the orbit will then start to create what we call wind. That's why our body starts to react. Our heart starts to beat. Our blood starts to flow. Our kidney starts to filter. And then subsequently, because of that action of the wind, you create knocking. And knocking then create energy, heat. Earth, water, wind, and fire. You touch your body, warm, isn't it? Oh, cold, but but he needs to go and sun himself. No chi. Yin and yang, yin yang, yin yang. So eventually you need to have that kind of. But when a body then deteriorates, the organ starts to fail. When the organs start to fail, then the body will then stop moving. The heart stop pumping. The lungs stop breathing. The kidneys stop filtering. That person then dies. When it dies, there is no more fire because there is no more wind. Because there's no more wind and fire, then the water then starts to dehydrate. And when the water dehydrates, then the particles or the earth will start to break up again. So from earth you come, to earth you return. Earth, water, wind, and fire. In order for you to be well, to be strong and healthy, these four must be balanced. When you have too much fire, what happens? It hay. When you have too much wind, what happens? Tao feng. When you have too much water, what happens? Sui zhong, lampong. When you have too much earth, oh, fei lo. So when you have no balance of this, that's why you are not at ease. Your energy is not at ease. That's why you have dis-ease. That's the word comes from that. Disease means dis-ease of the energy that is within your body. That's why our body, if it can be balanced, our body, if it can be calmed down, our body, if the energy can be what you call by Tai Chi, by Qigong, we then realign back our energies and make sure that it flows properly. When it flows properly, there's no blockage. When there's no blockage, there's no inflammation. When there's no inflammation, there is no pain. This is what happens to the physical form. So our body is comprised of the physical energy. And our mind is also the physical energy. But our mind and the body comes together because of that driving force. that electromagnetic force equivalent to this electricity and the electric bulb. You look at the bulb. What lighted it up? Electricity. Why is there electricity? It's because there is an energy with a voltage and an ampere. Correct or not? Therefore, it manifests itself as electric current. When it manifests itself as electric current and it passes through a bulb, then it lights it up and the bulb becomes alive. So there's a combination of what? A physical form called the bulb and a mental or what do you call energy called electricity. So electricity and physical form bulb, mind and body. But bulb also subject to anicca, anatta, dukkha. One day will deteriorate also. When it deteriorates, the bulb fused. 10,000 hours only can last around there. So once the 10,000 hours is up, once our 80 years is up, get ready lah. Anytime blow already lah. But when the body deteriorates and cannot support that mind, is that the end of the mind? Is that the end of electricity? As long as it still got amperes and voltage and still manifests as electric current, it will then leave that dead body in search of a fresh bulb. And when it meets another bulb, it reacts again, combines again to a psychophysical, and thus creating another birth. Our mind, remember we said, what was driving it? Craving. Craving is the one that drives it. Craving to exist, don't want to die. Craving not to exist, want to die. Craving to please your sense door, you get greed, hatred and delusion. 贪恨烦恼. Because you want to enjoy, greed. You don't want to enjoy, hatred. You don't know whether to enjoy or not to enjoy, 烦恼. 贪恨烦恼, greed, hatred, delusion will arise in our mind the moment we attach to your sensual pleasures, your five sense door. So when that happens, that is the craving force, like the electric voltage and amperes, will keep manifesting it as a mind energy. And that mental energy will then be projected out, meet another physical form within that 31 plane of existence, and recombine back again, and then create another birth. And the moment 有生就有老，有生就有病，有生就有死，tak habis cerita. You continue the chapters again and again and again. And that's why we Buddhists say samsara. Again, we talk about energy.